Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What is up, Michael?
What is up, my man? How's it going?
All right, man. Episode 220. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Two Dumb Yinzers. Uh,
Whoa!
Warm and rainy, soggy, kind of marshland outside, Mike. It's wet.
It's
It's wet.
yeah, it's wet, it's foggy, it's just miserable out there.
It absolutely is, man. But you know what? I'd rather have this than the freezing and the ice and the snow and the shoveling and the scraping and the falling and the sliding and the wrecking and all that fun stuff. So you know what? I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to enjoy this warm, rainy day while we can, because before we know it, we're all going to be miserable and bundling up, and all the
I'd
fun
rather
things of
have
winter.
I'd rather have all the winter stuff now. I'm that guy.
Yeah,
I prefer winter. Like this rain, I want in early spring.
I would like to have like 2 weeks of winter if that was possible.
No. See, I want more. I want more winter.
Less winter, the better. You know what? And the funny thing is, like, always being here from Western PA, I like the winter and I like the elements and everything because I like it in sports. And if,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I mean,
But
that,
when you have to see it, you're like,
yeah,
f that nonsense.
right. I like to see the guys sliding around and,
Yeah.
um,
Like
uh,
doing snow angels next to the quarterback you just
snow
sacked.
angels. Yeah, exactly.
That's the fun part of sports.
Yes,
That's the
Mike.
fun part of this time of the year.
It is the fun part. Unfortunately, Mike, there are parts that aren't so great in sports. We're going to talk about that a little bit here.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I just want to
Whoa, whoa,
say,
whoa, whoa, whoa. What did I do? What
you
did
look
I
like the
do?
Blue Man Group.
I know that's what I felt like. I forgot to turn my other lights on.
Um,
Oh man.
Mike, I just like I said, I was telling you before the show, you kind of hope that this year would be a little bit different than last year. Kind of start
Yeah.
off on a little bit better foot. I mean, from the moment that Betty White died last New Year's Eve, all the way through Christmas, when Pope Benedict died the day before New Year's, it just didn't stop. It seemed like it
No,
was
it didn't.
one person after another. And one of the things that I always kind of keep, excuse me, I kind of keep my eye on is the celebrities in a sense, because that's such a small population of us, the
Y-
people that are
Yeah.
celebrities. So if a lot of celebrities and athletes and everybody that falls in that group that everyone knows start passing away in large numbers, then you have to start wondering, if it's this small group that such a large amount of people are going, you have to think that this is pretty much everywhere. It had to be. It was a terrible year. Last year was a
It wa-
terrible year.
it was too. Well, you think that like a lot of those celebrities that died last year, and I don't mean to make light of this, but you had to think like look at their age and look at the age group they were in. They're at that what tail end of like the silent generation, the beginning of the baby boom generation. So you would expect that population, and because like a lot of those people that died, like we've known about them since we were born,
Right.
or they've been with us like a huge part of our lives, like literally 42 years old. I've known Betty White. That's been part of my consciousness since I was God, like in middle school. I think they were like I was in elementary, middle school, like when I found the Golden Girl. So like I've known her for over like just over half my life, almost my entire life. So
Well, they
like
didn't all have
so a
to
lot of these
pile in
celebrities,
and
you grew up with them. They were there every part of your life.
they didn't have to
It's so
pile
sweet.
in all in one year. I mean, you could
I,
spread
I
it out
know,
a little
right?
bit.
Well,
Jeez.
hey, but they're all in that age to where it sucks. Like all your heroes are starting to die. All the people that you watched growing up are starting to die. It sucks
I mean,
because it reminds you of your own mortality, and I don't
Aaron
want to.
Carter. I mean, there's a bunch of people that
Yeah, like
were
a younger
not in
ones
that
too.
generation.
Yeah,
Absolutely, it was a bad year last year, and I was hoping that we wouldn't get an encore. But geez, oh man, it's not looking too good.
no,
Before we get into the big story, obviously, Mike, I do want to recognize that we lost somebody from that was a guest on our show, a good friend of
hmm
ours, somebody that we love talking to, and I admire as a person. We just got news this morning that Fred the Elephant Boy Schreiber from the Whack Pack from the Howard Stern Show did indeed pass away. Rest in peace, Fred. We loved you. Just super. Just like I said, it just you
yeah,
wake up, you just don't know who it's going to be the next day.
hmm
And this is the second person that we lost that has been on our show for over the past 2 months.
yeah,
Of course, Luca the Real, the rapper from
hmm
Katanning, had passed away. a few months ago, and now Fred. So I mean, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. Um, I,
Life, it sucks, man. Life sucks. It's just like, ugh. I don't. And the show's
but
not going to get any better either. It's going to let you
yeah,
guys know because what we're talk about here in a little bit. Oh my god, not as bad, but just it's sad.
mm, I'm
Everything
already
that's going
hating.
on, like
Like it's the third
today.
day. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's the
it
third
could
day
have
of the
waited.
year.
It could have
Yeah,
waited.
I was in a good mood today, and then it just everything is just the world sucks.
Mm,
But hey, I have no transition. But hey, it's just pumping myself up.
yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody knows what we're talking about. Some people were watching. A lot of people were watching the Monday Night Football game last night. Some people weren't.
Mm-hmm.
If you aren't aware, um, he's an NFL football player from here in McKees Rocks in Western
Yes.
PA. Also went to Central Catholic, where Dan Marino went to high school. Played his college football. I'm sorry, here at Pitt, and now
Mm-hmm.
plays for the Buffalo Bills. Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin, of course, suffered an
Whew.
unfortunate incident last night on the Monday Night Football game. It was just Mike general football play. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
nothing was out of the blue. T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals had the ball. There was a collision. Hamlin tackled him. Then Hamlin stands up, just like
Mm-hmm.
every
Yeah.
play you watch. Like you watch a million plays in your life, and you watch football, and you see guys go down and stand up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Damar stands up for a split second and falls straight back, and he was down for quite some time. They stopped the game. They performed CPR.
Yeah.
Apparently, they had to perform CPR on the field
Mm-hmm.
for him for about 10 minutes. And then I guess they got his heart going. And then
Yes.
they transported him by ambulance to a nearby hospital where he still remains in critical condition. The last I heard, they had his vital signs, but they did have to stick tubes down his throat
Yep.
because he wasn't breathing on his own right. And unfortunately, that's where we're at now. So, I mean, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Prayers for this gentleman. He's a good, great kid.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to see it happen to anybody, but you certainly don't want to see it happen to your own. And Damar certainly is our own. And like I said, just keep them in your thoughts because this is it's a bad situation. You don't know how it's going to turn out. And
Mm-hmm.
whenever I realized how serious it was when you're watching the coverage and the football players are just they're bawling.
Yeah.
And you've seen your fellow soldiers go down before. You've seen your fellow soldiers get hurt, blow knees,
Mm-hmm.
break bones. But at that moment, Mike, that's when it
Yeah.
turned
You
the
knew.
page because
Yeah.
you knew something wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you hate to see it. I mean, geez, this is somebody's son. This is somebody and he's a successful person. Not that that makes any difference, but it just hurts because this guy worked so hard to get to where he's at in
Yeah.
life, and and unfortunately, this is the road that he had to
Yeah.
cross. But
And it was just like you said, not to interrupt, but like it
no,
was
you're
just like
good.
a normal hit.
Yeah,
It wasn't like, I'm not trying to make light of this situation or the one I'm about to bring up, like the Ryan Shazier hit. Like you knew
yeah,
right away something was wrong, like, down tackled wrong. This was like DeMar going in to wrap him up. T. Higgins laid the shoulder into him, and it was like you see that hit every week. Just about every running
absolutely.
play, every passing play. Guy lowers the shoulder, gets hit in the chest, wrap up, good to go. Maybe wind knocked out. It was the chain of events, like in that split second for the hit, it had to be hit in the right spot, right. Everything was just an unfortunate chain of events. Like people are saying, people are saying, like, hopefully T. Higgins doesn't think like, hey, feel bad because you didn't do it on purpose. You didn't know it was going to happen. You just made a smart football
Right,
play trying to run through the guy. So hopefully he doesn't have any extra guilt. Shout out to like all the medical teams
absolutely,
that
man.
were right out there and did that. And I was reading an article and God, doctor, he was saying like for them to immediately start doing what they did was like the most important thing. They recognized it right away because in that situation, seconds and minutes add up.
Absolutely,
And it
because
was like it was getting like back into the normal rhythm of the heart. That was like a huge critical step that they did
absolutely.
right away.
because you got to keep oxygen to the brain. The
Mhm.
longer that process hasn't started, and trying to get the heart revived and get that blood pumping back through your body and into your brain, I mean, the longer the time goes on, the better your chance of brain damage and worse. So of course, I just, you feel terrible. You feel the mood. I'm watching it this morning on TV, and everybody go through Twitter, everybody go through Facebook, everybody's feeling this mood. Everybody, indeed wants this young fella to
Yeah.
get better and be all right. It's just unfortunate. Like I said, I mean, a million plays, a million players in football for years and years and years and years, and you get one freak thing like this, and it truly shocks and shakes up the world of sports because
Yeah.
like I said, there's constant play, constant contact, constant everything in sports, and then the one thing like this pops up, and it's not fun anymore. It
Mm-mm.
takes that out of it, and I think the NFL made the right decision. I don't believe there was any way that they could have continued on last night with that game. They
Yeah.
they did the right thing.
And
Um,
that's like a contentious thing right now, the chain of events that led to the cancellation of the game or the
yeah.
postponement of the game.
What do you have? Fill me in a little bit.
What I have is, so during the broadcast they said, they were given the refs gave both teams the warning of, hey, all right, we're going to give you 5 minutes to warm up. And then it was like postponed by both coaches saying, no, we're not playing. We're not. No one wants to play this game. Players don't want to play. The coaches don't want to play. Like, no, we're not playing. And that was the end of the game. Now, Troy Vincent, NFLPA, is saying that was wrong. They were never going to restart the game. But then that's leading to, well, who told people in the broadcast booth that the refs told the coaches that they're going to start, and then who? So they released that information. Then who told the broadcast booth that no, the coaches said they weren't playing the game. They're going to decide to cancel the game. So what? Like, there's a lot of miscommunication. It seems like a lot of like trying to cover their own ass. Everyone's trying to cover their own
Right.
butts here in this situation of not wanting to look insensitive, of not, of like trying to start the game until everyone didn't want to play the game. And it's easy to say, oh, they should have just stopped it right away. But you have to look at it too, like from the league's thing, like, hey, okay, the player's off the field, he's going to the hospital, he's medical professionals are going to do their thing. We've seen this a bunch of times. You just go back out and play the game. But that's just looking at the business side of it. They got to look at the human side of it too. Like, this is one of the worst injuries we've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
So they eventually, someone made the right call. It's just, when was that right call made? I don't think we'll ever get to the truth of it.
Right.
But yeah, hey, as long as the right call was eventually made, that's all that matters.
Yeah. It's he's
Because no one was in the right frame of mind
no.
to want to play after that.
There isn't anybody that was down on that field, or even anybody in that stadium that should have
Yeah,
been encouraging that situation to continue on after
yeah.
after that injury. Um, but it is very unfortunate. Everybody will continue to follow this, pretty closely.
Damar
Mike.
Hamlin's his charity.
Yes,
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 yes. He just had a modest goal of like raise what, like $2,500 for a local toy drive for the local community and what McKees Rocks.
yes, sir.
Last I saw, it was up over almost $3.5 million.
Absolutely, yes.
And I guarantee you a lot of that has to be like the Bills Mafia. They're huge on that kind of thing. Whenever they
Mhm.
find out any player has something going on like that, it could be they did stuff like that against Andy Dalton the one year, I believe it was. They beat them so bad, but they donated a bunch of money to his charity. Guarantee you, they found out about this. They donated. Everyone else in the NFL fan bases, they donated. People who don't even follow the NFL probably found out about it and
Yeah.
donated to it. So it sucks that this is how that charity is going to have to get, raising money, but it's also a good thing in a bad situation.
What a
It's a nice
wonderful
thing to see, like people coming together, like, hey, this poor dude, this is happening to him. How can we honor him? Let's honor him this way.
what a wonderful world this would be, Mike, if the people would do the great things that they do without the bad things that happen
Happen to, yeah,
to have to happen to
yeah,
make those
yeah,
people do those things. I mean, we could do many, many wonderful things if,
hmm,
like I said, if we
yeah,
put our minds to it. It's always unfortunate that it comes after a situation like
yeah,
this. Um, man, what a bummer. What a bummer. What
yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
I went to bed in a good mood.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, we'll talk about that.
I
That
don't want to
sporting
talk
event.
about you going to bed in a
Bed in a
good
good
mood.
mood.
That sounds like a horrible story,
Sounds
actually.
like a great story.
Oh,
I'm just trying to, change the mood, make it
Mike,
a
I
little
heard. Now,
uplifting.
is this true?
Oh God,
No, this is still
no, 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 that's
this is
never.
still serious. Go back to your serious voice.
Oh, okay, yes, yes,
Um,
yes,
is it true that all four of these injuries happened at Cincinnati?
yes,
Ryan Shazier,
yes.
Damar
Mm-hmm.
Hamlin, Tua,
Mm-hmm.
and AB with his
Yes,
concussion. All
yes,
four of them happened at Cincinnati's football field.
yes. All four happened there, which is wild to think
That's
about.
very wild. I mean, they're
That
all,
if that isn't a case for that team to be able to have to be folded and disbanded
yeah,
and
get
tear
the
that
hell
stadium
get
down,
rid of
I
the
don't know what is.
Bungles. Yeah, that's this is the
Yeah,
only thing. If you want to solve the problem,
and none of them have been a Bengals player.
are you right?
And they,
Tua had a concussion that was one of the most disgusting, things
yeah,
I've ever seen. Ryan Shazier lost the use of his bottom half of his body. The gentleman last night, and then also AB with his concussion
yeah,
that arguably some say changed the course of his career. The only thing that I could think of, Mike, is eliminate the Bengals.
eliminate the Bengals. And in fairness,
Oh,
one of those was self-inflicted.
what do you mean?
Shazier led with his helmet.
Mm,
That one was self-inflicted, but it
yeah,
still happened
I
at
don't.
that stadium.
Yeah,
I just,
it's
in fairness to the Bengals stadium,
don't be fair to their stadium.
I know, right?
That stadium is not being very
Like
fair
I'm,
to very
no,
fair to players.
no, it's not. And like I'm trying not to laugh, but like, how can you not look at the
Yeah,
absurdity of like four of the biggest injuries you can think of in NFL recent NFL history? They all happened at the same stadium.
Mike, was
Like,
it was it was
oh,
it Damar Hamlin earlier this season who had a pretty serious injury? Remember the Bills? There was a Bills player that got hurt, and it was a pretty
oh,
serious early in the season. I think it might have been Hamlin as well.
I don't. I'm not sure, and it's going to be hard to try to find out.
I am because remember that it was a big thing, and he got hurt bad, and they had to stop
I
the
know.
game. I'm pretty sure it was him,
Um,
man.
See now, everything is just in the past couple hours for me to find,
Yeah,
and that's what's gonna suck. Like I can't find anything because it's all just gonna be about, rightly so, this.
yeah.
Because I know like one of their, because they've had a lot of injuries in their secondary, so
I'm
it could have
pretty
been
sure it was
him. It
him,
could have been
Mike.
someone else.
I'm pretty sure it was him because there was a lot of pit outcry and support, and
Yeah.
man, that poor kid. Yeah,
Uh,
jeez, it's gonna be on my mind all day.
yeah. And like he was like, not only is he like a, he was a good player, just like a good dude. Everything you've read about him, like even in college and everything, he was just a good dude.
Yeah.
be,
Um,
be, be 1,000% fair to the stadium. It's still in Cincinnati, and in
yeah,
Cincinnati, and they did kill Harambe,
yeah.
which
They
led us
killed
down this
Harambe.
terrible fucking timeline. So you
Mike
know
has been
what?
so tied up
Fuck.
on Harambe ever since
Ever
I've
since
known
they
him.
fucking shot Harambe, I have been irate with the
I
city of
can honestly
Cincinnati.
say I've never been so tired of hearing about
Dicks out for Harambe.
yeah.
Don't fuck with her. Since burn that city and stadium to the ground.
Mike, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change. We're gonna go a different direction for a little bit. All right. I don't want to bring everybody down. I know that everybody's watching this entirely and exclusively on television, and anything
Yeah.
and talking about it at the workplace. Let's change directions a little bit, Mike. Let's talk a little bit of hockey. There was a hockey game yesterday,
No, there wasn't.
and it was what, these games are so cool. They really
They
are.
are.
I
They're
like
some of the
I
best.
like the uniforms, the old
Yeah.
time. They come out with the hats and
Like the
you know,
Penguins came, like both teams came out like in warm ups dressed as like the
yeah.
baseball teams and shit. I thought that was
I
kind of
like
cool.
that. I think that the Penguins probably could have made a decision to stay away from wearing anything that says the Pirates on it
You're
because
right.
you know how well that works here. However, the Penguins went out. They played a game against the Boston Bruins in Fenway Park in the outdoor Winter Classic game, which is always awesome. Always one of my favorite games. Again, like
Yeah.
I always tell Mike, I like the gimmicky type games. I
Yeah.
like things like that. It's a nice change of pace, and it's something to fun watch. That's fun for sports fans. And so yesterday the Penguins were back at it. They lost again, Mike. They went into the game, I think, with a 3-game losing streak. They ended up losing to the Bruins 2-1, and that extends their streak to 4, I believe. Mike, they're 4-game losing streak.
I believe so. 5.
5. And about
5-game
these,
losing streak. Yeah. This they're almost out of a playoff spot. This team they are in danger of not making the playoffs. And I'm not just saying that because of where they sit now, but the way if they keep playing, they don't get their head out of their asses, don't change the way they play, they could be in danger of missing the playoffs.
you know what? I think they're going to be fine. I think they are, just like they are always fine, because they're always, and we've said this the past couple of days. This team is always streaky. This team, when they go on a winning streak, they just keep winning and winning, and you're like, oh, this is the hottest team in hockey. They won 5, 6, 7 in a row, and then you turn around and without in the blink of an eye, the same team is on his losing streak, and they're losing 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So something about this Penguins team, I'm never really concerned about them about missing the playoffs. They don't miss the playoffs often, and maybe that's why. Maybe I'm just overconfident because that we know that this team is going to be fine. They're going to continue to do what they do. But like Mike said, they have to change some things up, make some adjustments. But I don't think, Mike, I don't think that that's anything out of this team's hand, anything out of Mike Sullivan's hand, anything out of the Pittsburgh Penguins' hand. You have this team of great core, probably the greatest core group of players in the league right now. And for the last how many ever years,
Mm-hmm.
this team, though, long win streaks, long lose streaks. At the end of the day, they don't miss the playoffs. I think they'll fix it. I think they'll be fine. They're going to hit another streak to win a lot of games. Like I said, I never really worry about the Penguins until you get into the postseason.
Yeah, I'm worrying right now because they don't want to change the way they play. They still think they still have the wheels to skate faster than everyone. Everyone's caught up to you now. A lot of the guys are older. They really haven't replaced a lot of that speed. Mike Sullivan refuses to change his coaching style. It's just, I don't know. This is the year I'm legit worried. And yeah, the entire Midwest is cursed. We had Jeffrey Dahmer. Enough said. Enough said.
Yeah.
And the Browns and the Bengals.
I don't want to alienate anybody just in case they may listen to the show from the area, but I'm going to say I agree. I think the Midwest always has a cursed feel to it.
I live in the Midwest. Okay, I live in Ohio. Just put time between Ohio and PA. I'm in the Atlantic, and then I'm in the Midwest.
Yeah. Basically, you're in Pittsburgh territory, though.
Yeah, but still,
the whole panhandle of West Virginia up into Ohio.
I'm sorry, from Cleveland to Columbus is not the Midwest. Everything west of Columbus is the Midwest.
Right.
That's my geography.
You think St. Louis, you think Wisconsin, you think Missouri, Illinois. That's Midwest to me.
Yeah, because if you want to throw Ohio into the Midwest, this part of the Midwest, you might as well throw Pittsburgh into the Midwest.
Exactly. And Eastern Ohio is just as much as Midwest as Pittsburgh is. So
yeah, exactly.
But the Penguins got to get back on track. Mike, Thursday night they travel out to Las Vegas to play the Golden Knights. That's going to be a 10:00 game, everybody. So expect to be up a little bit later watching the Pens. Get back on track against the Golden Knights and get back on. Let's start a streak going the other way and win some hockey games. Like I said, I'm not real concerned about the Penguins, especially not at this point. There's a lot of hockey left. And this team tends to always find their way. Once you get in the playoffs, that's when I start to get a little bit concerned. But right now, Mike, I can't say that I'm concerned. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm not happy that they're not winning. But if there's a group of guys that I trust more to make it through the season, it's like I said, this core group of guys, and they are getting older, yes. But at the end of the day, they're still an elite group in their own way. And you know what? I do trust them.
Yeah, we just, Jari left the game with a lower body injury. Letang had to leave the team. Unfortunately, his dad passed away the night before the game. So, but talk about someone who's had bad luck this season for off the field issues that are totally outside his control. Yeah, poor Letang.
Yeah,
he has a stroke, then loses his dad. This guy needs a win in life.
Yeah, you need a hug, for fuck's sake,
right? I'm sure there's a lot of people in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think
Men
I
and
think
women and everyone. I think everyone. Like, he's a sexy man. I'll give him a hug.
yeah, what the hell?
But it's a little long
I'm kind of
linger.
almost a man enough to admit that,
No, I'm man enough to admit that he would get an extra long hug from me.
You don't want one of Mike's extra long hugs from behind. That's all I gotta say. Hold on. P got another message coming through. Let's see. I liked Chicago actually, but I really wonder why anyone would stay here for more than a year. You know what? I agree. Chicago seems like it'd be a nice place to visit, but that is not a place that that I'd want to live. There's bad stuff going on everywhere. I agree with that. But you know what? Chicago, they've had it rough for the past couple of years. Just things you've seen on the news, headlines, situations like that. I don't think I'd want to spend a long time.
But
I'm happy here in
Chicago's
Pittsburgh.
actually like where it ranks down. It's like in the 20s for like murders, man. People
Really?
think it's number 1. It's down in the 20s.
Hmm.
Go Chicago.
I wonder who number one is because all you
It's somewhere
hear
down
is
south.
yeah, like one of the Jackson,
Like the
Mississippi's or
South
something
is like
yeah.
way up there, man. The South got numbers. They just
I
don't
wish
talk
people would
about
stop. I wish people would stop already. Fuck.
it. Let me be the last victim.
Yeah, please.
Oh, fuck you, man.
So Penguins, come on, guys, we get back on track. I know they're gonna be okay, Mike. Like I said, I'm trying. I don't let myself get too down during the regular season. It's a long season. You have so much time to make up ground, get it back, and you know what? I think they're gonna be fine. I really do.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah, and you know what? Put that up, but the last one that P just put up with the weather.
Oh God,
the weather on the lakes is the worst. You know what? I agree.
Yes,
because I've been in Cleveland, and all the shit that flies around in those lakes and in the skies and everything always land in Cleveland. And it's always about 30 degrees cooler up here. If you look on the map, if you're not from the area, Cleveland's pretty close to us. But if it's cold and snowy here, it is a blizzard up there. It's always 30 degree colder. It's always icy, So I haven't been to many places on the lakes, but what I do know is Cleveland. It certainly has an effect up there. So I can only imagine.
I lived in Sandusky for 5 years, and I was probably 5 minutes away from the lake. I call people down here like, oh yeah, we had about like 2 inches of snow. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I had like 8.
Yeah.
And the snow drifts are up to like 2 feet high. You can't, everything's so high you can't see up there. The weather it sucks, but it was like my favorite winter weather because it's all flat up there.
Right.
It was so easy to drive. Like the lower part down here in PA, it's hilly. I have to deal with.
Mike, I'm going to do something for you. Now, you know what? I'm not going to do anything for you. Listen.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Just real quick.
I'm going to hijack the show then because I want to talk about something great.
I want to get back to that in a minute. Just calm down. Speaking of the Midwest, we could tie this into sports in a way. Last night, Mike, the basketball game in the NBA between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Chicago Bulls, Donovan Mitchell, the shooting guard for Cleveland, scores 71 points. I personally haven't seen that since David Robinson did it back in the late 90s when it came down to the last day. It came down to Shaquille O'Neal had the scoring title in his hands. David Robinson needed 70 points, Mike, to win the title that season. Last game, he scores 71. 71 points. Unbelievable. Last night, Donovan Mitchell for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the overtime game, 145 to 134 over the Chicago Bulls. Donovan Mitchell has 71 points. He went 22 for 34 from the field and 20 from 25 from the free throw line. But that isn't even where it ended, Mike. Also, DeMar Rosen for the Chicago Bulls. Now, he had 44 points. I mean, the other players didn't even come to this game. They should just
everyone just stayed home. It was just those two. It was like a shoot around.
And Rosen had his he was 16 for 32 from the field and 10 for 12 from the line. I mean, if you love basketball, these kind of games are kind of freakish and are really fun to watch. And you know what? I think that's pretty awesome. The Admiral gets no love, a real American hero. I agree with you 100%. Put that up real quick so the people can see what P said. I couldn't agree with you. Navy veteran, David Robinson, one of the most class acts that I've ever seen. He was a southpaw, a lefty, number 50. I loved the Admiral. No two ways about it. He gets the respect and he gets the love here.
I just want to say, call me when one of these guys scores 80 points after being found not guilty for rape. Love you, Black Mamba.
There was your moment. And on to no, Mike, I'm going to give you some love here. You ready? You can leave your shirt on this time, but I'm going to give you some love. Ooh, here we go. The Penn State Nittany Lions are, Mike, the Rose Bowl champions. Penn State finishing up overall 11-2 this season.
Yes.
They beat the Utah Utes yesterday in the Rose Bowl,
Yes.
35-21. Mike, you doubted your team. You said once you
I did.
start
I
playing
did.
teams in the
I
top,
did.
they lose. I had a feeling about this team. I like
Oh,
the
I knew it was gonna fall flat, P. I knew it was gonna fall flat.
and I tell you what, you know, when I'm watching this game, and Penn State is not a bad team. And like I said, you finish 11-2, and your only losses are to Ohio State and Michigan, and you
Yes.
win the Rose Bowl over a team that
Yeah.
beat USC twice in one season. Mike, you
Yeah.
got to be happy with where this team is. I don't know who's leaving, who's staying, but you know what, Penn State, that's a pretty good football team.
It's a good football team. We Sean Clifford is leaving. Normally, that's not a big loss, but my God, this dude played the game of his life. 16 of 22, 279, and 2 touchdowns.
Yes, they look
Where
good,
was
man.
this Sean Clifford when we needed him in all the other big games throughout the season? But yes, Sean Clifford, I loved you, I hated you, I loved you, I hated you, and last night I loved you once for the last time. This team, they have a lot of players coming back. They are going to lose some key players. They are losing Joey Porter Jr. We are losing Parker Washington, who was a damn good wide receiver. He had an injury bug this year. Look for him to be drafted in like anywhere between like the third, fifth round, I believe. Our stud offensive lineman, he's coming back. A lot of defenders are coming back. That defense last night was fired up. Wouldn't surprise me if Penn State's defensive coordinator Manny Diaz gets poached away for a head coaching job. I think last night was his the cherry on top of his resume of saying, "Hey, I'm ready to be a head coach again. Come get me." But hopefully he stays because that defense was just swarming all over the place. Their quarterback, um, both of them, we knocked their starting quarterback out. He was 8 of 21, 95 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick before he got knocked out. The announcers were kind of making a big deal. Like if he was still in the game, they've had a chance, but they held him in check. They dominated him all night long.
You know,
I think
Mike,
if he played, it would still would have been a blowout.
it's an impressive win. Like I said, you know, you never have all your starters going into the bowl games. You have the guys that opt out. So it's really encouraging to see your team go out and play this good of a game
Yeah.
against a team as good as Utah was, and that's encouraging moving forward. Of
Yeah.
course, you know the guys you did mention that won't be there, but there are guys that do have the experience now. They did
Yeah.
win the Rose Bowl. They're coming back.
Oh
So
yeah. Well, both of our running backs are coming back. Singleton and Allen, both of them had touchdowns. Singleton had like an 87-yard touchdown run.
yeah.
Kellen J. Lambert Smith, 88-yard touchdown reception. Touchdown reception is the longest in Rose Bowl history, and the run is the third longest. And I think I know Kajana Carter had an 80, and I think Saquon Barkley may have had another one.
Kajana was my guy, man, back in the
That he
90s.
was the beast. It sucked what happened to him in the pros when he blew
Yeah,
out his knee, but he did
absolutely.
come back and he had a decent career at the end of that after the end of that recovery.
I loved them. There was actually a lot of good players that came out in the 90s that I was a fan of. I loved LeVar Arrington, of course,
Oh, he was a beast.
Kajana Carter. You know what? And a lot of
Yes.
people didn't know liking Kerry Collins. They said he was a bit of a dick. But you know what? He was a good quarterback. He got got the Giants to the Super Bowl against the Ravens early in the 2000s. I mean, there was definitely guys that came out of Penn State.
Hmm.
I'm not a big Penn State guy, but I could be a big enough person to say that I am a fan of theirs. Mike, again, Utah, good team. They dropped to 10-4 with
Hmm.
the loss. They lose by two touchdowns, 35-21 to Penn State. So that, Mike, there you go. There's your good news for the new
That
year.
was I went to bed on that and then woke up to my buddies asking if a player died on the field. I'm like, that was a wide range of emotions.
Absolutely, man. That's the same here. I don't.
But no, but anyway, Penn State, who would have thought every time we sniffed like the top 15, we end up losing, we won a game.
Yeah, maybe that'll help to get for next year's rankings when they're putting it all together.
Yeah.
You know
And
that'll
then
that'll.
we'll lose big in the first game.
Of course.
We'll come out
Then
ranked in the top
you
10.
make it up all season. You win 10
Yeah.
games in a row. Get yourself back up there, and then they lose
This
again.
is Michigan and Ohio State again.
Yeah, Pitt
That's
does
what
this
we do.
regularly, actually. Um, I was put up with Pete got here.
Like David
I was
Robinson.
only 6 foot in the Navy. I banged my head often. Anything you do give you a hurry and a concussion. Absolutely. And
I
David
wonder where.
Robinson was a 7 foot person, so you can imagine the things he was banging his head off of. But you know what? It worked out to his advantage. He was able to go to the NBA and utilize that height. I don't know if you made it to the NBA or not, but you know what? Great respect to you, and thank you as well for serving this great country.
P was a 6 foot point guard, man. Shifty.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, send us some of those videos, P. We'll play them sometime, and we'll live we'll analyze and we'll all get together and talk it.
With my basketball prowess,
Yeah.
my expertise at the game.
The only expertise that Mike has in basketball is the fact that his head is shaped like a basketball.
Fair enough.
So,
Hey, man, I have the same body type as Charles Barkley.
what, beanbag?
Yeah. Round mound of rebound, baby. I'm throwing.
Hey, Sir Charles was one of my favorites too.
Throwing
Man.
people through windows at the bar. I love it.
Oh man, Mike, I have a little bit of Steeler news. I didn't want to get too heavy into it because obviously we put out a banger yesterday with a bunch of Steeler talk, and but there is things every day that comes out, and I don't want to miss out on it. Mike Najee Harris did win the Digest Player of the Week. He had a fantastic game. I don't have his numbers right in front of me, but I do know that they were out of this world. He is really coming forth playing his game, and I think it's a combination of a bunch of things. Obviously, he's feeling better. Obviously, the offensive line's playing better. Obviously, the offense is playing better, which is allowing that. So a lot of things going good for us right now, and especially Najee, his running game. Mike, I rewatched the game last night. I DVR'd it to watch as I lay down to go to sleep. That way, if I missed anything, I like to catch up on it, pick it up, and be able to talk about it. Najee ran like a beast. He ran like a beast. I couldn't get enough of the way he ran the ball, Mike. I really couldn't. He really looked like how I was hoping that he was going to look in the pros.
Yeah, and I have to say I hope going forward they do keep the rotation going of him and Jaylen Warren, because it keeps Najee fresh. Najee's good in the pass game, good in the pass block game, but I do like having Jaylen out there as that third down back. I think Jalen's is a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. And if you need that,
do you see when Jalen hit that corner for that long run?
He has that quick acceleration that you'd like to see on third downs.
And he's built like a bowling ball.
He is
so
too. He's
fast. If you could actually catch him, try getting him down.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen him truck guys. So I going into this next game, I think it's going to be fun. Are they good? Are they both as good as Chubbs and I'm blanking, and Kareem Hunt? No, but are they as an effective duo as those two? Yes, they are. And it's going to be a fun game to watch, man.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
Give you a little bit of.
Might be the rum talking.
Oh, geez. All right. Moving forward here, Mike, let me give you some interesting numbers. Rookies in the biggest game of the year this season and against the biggest rival in this game last week against the Ravens versus the Steelers. We have 5 rookies, Mike, 5 rookies that were that played. Let me give you the percent of snaps that they were in for their respective position. And Robinson, the rookie that I can't wait to see, Mike. This is the one that I've been waiting all year. Yes. We went on and on about this 7th round pick out of Ole Miss. We couldn't wait to see him. And here he was last week, filling in great, getting tons of praise. Vince Williams, everybody, all the guys, they're saying this guy's a hell of a linebacker. He's been waiting all season to hit somebody. Mark Robinson played 50% of the defensive snaps. That's pretty damn impressive. I'm glad. I can't wait to see him keep going on, play against Cleveland, maybe playoffs, and then into next season. Mark Robinson, keep your eye on him. Number 93, everybody. Mark Robinson, 50% of the defensive snaps. Also, Mike, Jaylen Warren, 40% of the offensive snaps, which people. That's very true. Let me get back to you in one sec, P. I couldn't agree with you more. Also, Mike, Jaylen Warren, 40% of the offensive snaps, which sometimes, not bad when you're splitting.
When you're back up running back, and the way Najee was playing.
So he's getting mad time. That's awesome because he's another one I want to see there. And like you said, they're a good combination. Yes. It isn't like when one guy comes out, you're like, oh crap, this guy. But it isn't. You're just excited to see Jaylen Warren as you are to see Najee because they're both very productive. Can't wait. I love Jaylen Warren. 40% of the snaps, Mike, he played. Hayward, brother Hayward had 17 snaps on offense. Which again for a rookie, come on. I mean, these guys are rookies.
Biggest game of the tight end, not bad.
Connor Hayward, there you have it. The biggest game of the year, biggest rival, which I say that these guys really stepped up to the plate last week, but we'll get back to that in a moment. George Pickens, Mike, 73%
Needs to
of
be
the
higher.
snaps,
Needs to
Mike.
be higher.
Absolutely, but you got to let the guy breathe. These receivers are running long routes. Maybe let him breathe,
Needs to be
get a
higher.
breath. Not Hitler over here. He wants to make him,
Oh, come
just
on now.
just teasing, just teasing. I do like George Pickens. I would like to see him in there entirely the whole
Yeah,
time,
but
but
I
every
understand.
once in a while,
You
get a
rotate in
breath
and
so you
out.
could
Yeah,
come back in and make a
and
splash.
he's only
Kenny,
a
of
rookie. You
course,
don't want
played
him to hit the wall.
100%. What's that?
And he's only a rookie. You don't want to.
Exactly. I mean, these guys are really hitting their stride at the right time. A lot of time you get these rookies, they hit that rookie wall. So here we are, second to last game of the year, fighting for a playoff spot in this atmosphere. Of course, Kenny played 100% of the snaps. We know that. You got to be proud. Mike, I'm proud of these young guys. We sat there, we covered the draft this year. We talked about each and every one of these players.
And
You know what? I'm super excited
yes,
moving forward. I'm excited to see the next group of guys come in to mix and mingle, and
yeah.
we could put this team together and keep building. So excited for these young guys. Great job, great job, great job.
And I think like we were like on that early bandwagon in the draft of Robinson. Once we started reading up on him, and we talked about,
Loved them.
we were like,
Day
this guy
one.
shows 100 tackles playing 1 year at middle linebacker. Okay, let's
Yeah.
see what he has. And I'm saying that was all us. We called that from day one.
Right. Absolutely, Mike. We've been blowing smoke up Mark Robinson's butt since day one. But you know what? He hasn't let us down. He did
Yeah.
exactly what we thought he was going
And
to do.
him, he embraced the whole thing the right way, saying, "Hey, I'm not ready to play." And then
Right.
he's like, "I need these practice reps. I need the film study. I need all
Yeah.
that." And the Steelers told him that too, like, "Hey, this is what you need." And he, they all embrace it and they did it the smart way.
And also one other stat that I find interesting. I'm sure Mike will roll his eyes, but us here in Pittsburgh, we love this kid. Kenny Pickett's is the first rookie in NFL history to have game-winning touchdown passes in the final minute in the fourth quarter in back-to-back games. First time it ever happened. Great job, my man. Keep it up.
How about you play
I see,
well the entire game, not just the last drive, Kenny? Please, for me, for my heart.
Mike. You know that's what the Steelers do. The Steelers been doing this for years, waiting till the last drive of the game to win.
Yeah,
How
because
many
Ben's
comeback
elbow is
wins
held
did
together
Ben
by
have?
chicken wire and duct tape.
That don't matter. That's the Steeler way. You know what? It's the Pittsburgh way, because the Penguins do this as well. There's a lot of times they wait, and then they finally pile on and win at the end. For some reason, Pittsburgh teams do this. I don't know why, but it's something that I live through, and it's kind of
This is why I have no hair. I'm gray. I'm fat. It's all the stress, man. All the fucking stress did this to me. Not poor life choices. Fucking teams.
yeah. You're P, but let me address P real quick. Put up the
Yeah.
last comment, Mike. I couldn't agree with you more. People still question LaDainian Tomlinson. The guy was one of the best running backs ever. I don't know where he is in the top 5, top 10, but you would certainly, I think that he's in the top 10, rightfully so.
Were
There's
we talking
nobody
about
that
Tomlin or Tomlinson? Was it,
I'm talking about
I
Tomlinson.
thought he meant to say
Um,
Tomlin and just autocorrected.
you know what? I'm going to say something about LaDainian Tomlinson,
Exactly one of the
because
best running backs I've ever seen play.
absolutely, if anybody is questioning LaDainian Tomlinson, I think you're
And
crazy,
anyone
and
questioning
perhaps
Tomlin, for the most part,
maybe
you're an idiot.
you should go focus on football and maybe not football.
But Mike, tell you,
Um,
there are valid criticisms of Tomlin, but
absolutely, everybody,
like
Mike,
this,
everybody got.
yeah. But to say he's overrated is one of the worst I've ever heard people say. To say he's
No,
not a good
definitely not
coach, to say
overrated.
he's not an elite coach, to say half the teams underperformed, yeah. But that find me a coach other than Belichick where teams have underperformed. Chuck Noll had teams that underperformed.
Oh, absolutely,
Cower had teams that
everybody, Mike.
underperformed. So you can find it
Absolutely.
for anyone. So is he still one of the best coaches in the league? Yeah. Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? Yeah. And anyone who says different, you're crazy. Because you
You know,
to put him up against, you
with
put his records up against any other coach outside of oh, you go through the withdrawal for your alcohol detox.
so I think
I
we did
tried,
jump
Pete. I
again,
tried
Mike.
for a day.
Yeah,
Didn't work. It's got to embrace.
Mike really did handle your comment the way that you meant it to be
I
handled.
remember my man saying he was doing the January detox. I said I was too, and it lasted all like 8 hours for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike was loaded by the end of the show.
I'm kind of
Um,
lit right now, and I've only had one drink. I've been up since like 11 o'clock last night. Give me a break.
No, mad props for Mike Tomlin. Anybody that did doubt and the head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think you should be coming around at this point. From a Yinzer standpoint, if there was any doubt, if you were a
Yeah,
coward guy, if you were this, you were that, as this is coming through to fruition with him about to maybe extend his non-losing streak another season, like with a win this week against the Cleveland Browns, that situation that
yeah,
everyone was crying about earlier in the year, this Tomlin, he thinks we only have 2 wins. We're 2-6. There's no way his record's
yeah,
going to continue. You might want to start
yeah,
reconsidering and look at the numbers, because he is, everybody, one of the best. There's no other
yeah.
coaches in the league that have this right
Hmm.
now. With the, like you said, Belichick, but he's a freak of nature. I don't
Yeah,
know what they did for 2 decades.
right.
Whatever it was couldn't be right,
Hmm.
because there was
He's the modern day Chuck Noll, modern day Vince Lombardi. They come once a generation.
absolutely. I'd like to see him win a little bit more when the game gets later in the season. But again, maybe this year, maybe
Yeah,
we're building to start going in that direction again. So you know what, I'm a coward guy. I don't dislike
yeah.
Tomlin, but there was a little bit of extra push that I needed. And you know what? It's coming. It's coming. I feel it. And I say that Mike Tomlin is one of the best. There's
Right,
no
right
two ways
there. Yeah,
about it.
that's like everyone's biggest complaint about Tomlin is they don't lose enough to get better
Yeah.
draft picks. But then they bitch
Right.
when he starts losing.
Yeah.
Keep to make up your mind. But I get where you're coming from, because you do get in that. I hate this saying, but you do finish middle, draft middle, stay middle. You do
Yeah.
need that ups and the downs, and that's. But
Absolutely.
I'd rather have my team. Mike Tomlin has had one game in 15 years that does not that had no ramification on the playoffs. One game in 15 years. That is
I want
insane.
to.
One game that didn't matter.
And here's
That's
the thing: we could all
nuts.
sit here and say that he's great, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for
There
improvement. Again,
is.
we do want to see some more wins in January. No, Mike. I mean, the guy
There is. No,
has
I
to.
said, yeah. Like, you want to
Oh,
win.
okay.
I want like better
We got to
starts.
win.
I
We
want
have to
better
win more
wins laters.
January games than the ones in the
Yeah.
beginning of February. But you know what?
You can say that about
It's getting there. It's
90% of
getting
the
there.
coaches in the league. And like, outside of
Exactly.
outside of Belichick, every coach wants to win more in more in the postseason. My God.
But a lot of teams
And
are. We have to figure. I think we just have to figure out how to jump the hurdle, Mike, and get back on track.
yeah.
It's just having a hard time
Yeah.
getting that first win back. Once you get that first win, build off of that.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get that.
The first one back.
It's hard to get that
Yeah.
first win, man.
I just wish, I know I'm gonna jump sports here, but like the same level of criticism that's being applied to Tomlin needs to be applied to Mike Sullivan too, because the Penguins haven't won a playoff series since 2018.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
and
I mean, we where we stand. We
yeah,
stand. I agree. I
like
agree
both
100.
coaches,
percent
both coaches are going to end up in the Hall of Fame in their respective sports, but they just need to improve
Mike,
now.
it was announced yesterday. Everybody was waiting. They said we're going to be announcing the times for the game Sunday. Ends out there was not much of a difference for us. We are playing at 1 o'clock as scheduled against the Cleveland Browns at Acrisure Stadium, along with the 2 games that we need
Yeah,
to watch while we're playing. Those
I,
games are at one
I
o'clock. The
like
Jets
that. I like
at
that.
Miami. The Patriots Buffalo game, they're all at 1 o'clock. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till
Oh
8 o'clock to see if your team's in.
yeah.
You could watch the ticker. You could watch NFL, whatever you
What's
want to
red
do.
zone? What's the whatever?
Yeah,
All that
and
fun
you will
stuff.
know as time at 4 o'clock. You're going to know if the Pittsburgh Steelers are in or out of the playoffs. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Like I said, I think we could beat Cleveland. I think that Buffalo.
Hmm.
Who knows what's going to happen with the
That's
scheduling?
right
But
there. What's going to happen with like when's Buffalo got to play again?
and here's the thing about them: they're still jockeying. If they would have lost last night, you would have guaranteed they wouldn't have rested players in week 18. That's one thing we don't want. We don't want them to rest players. But you know what? The way things went, they are going to have to play their players against Buffalo or against New England, whoever the hell they're playing,
Yeah,
Buffalo or New England.
yeah. Real quick,
So
real quick update. I just Damar Hamlin's charity, $4 million raised, 150,000 donations.
yeah, good.
I am
Good.
sorry. I have live updates going on his situation that popped up. I just wanted to throw that out there.
But like I said, they are going to have to play,
Yes.
and I like that because that gives me that gives the Steelers a better chance because Buffalo does have to compete with their starters against the New England Patriots, and that is going to be something that helps us out. We just, Mike, I think the Miami Dolphins
Yeah.
and the Jets game is going to be the tough one. That's going to be the tough one. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Miami comes back in
Yeah.
it with their third string quarterback, and
Yeah.
we hope for the
I
best.
hope Tua's not well until the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish him
I
well.
wish him well.
I
Yeah,
hope him a great life. I hope him great health,
yeah,
but I just hope his recovery lasts a
a
little bit
little bit
longer
longer.
than this
Treat
week.
yourself to
Absolutely.
yeah. Pittsburgh's Coke system has not been the same since Willie Stargell died. We need to get that new supply coming back in. You know, get us over the
You
hump.
know what? I was in the parking lot at PNC Park. It was the morning that PNC Park
Uh
opened
huh.
was the morning that Willie Stargell died. The morning Pops died,
Mm-hmm.
we were in the parking lot drinking, me and my
Should have
friend,
been
and
snorting
we're
for out
getting
of respect.
and we were getting prepared to go into the game, doing a little tailgating thing of our own. And people started talking amongst the tailgaters. Everybody, Willie Stargell
Yeah.
just passed. It was I remember exactly where I was. It was a shame that it did happen that morning, but it was cool that I was a
Yeah.
part of that experience and was able to do that with a bunch of our
So you're saying
folks.
the DEA killed Willie Stargell to cut down the Coke supply to Pittsburgh? That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. That's my new conspiracy. I should not drink during the show.
Mike,
The last 20 minutes,
also.
I just go off the rails.
All right, so finally, Mike, in the Pittsburgh Steelers stuff, did you see all the guys, all the people that was celebrating? Well, first of all, after the touchdown that Najee scored, all the fans that were
Mm-hmm.
flipping him off, and the players, whenever they're giving him
Yeah.
hell, and they're all,
Yeah.
I like that.
I
I
love
dig
that shit.
that
That is great when the players and the fans
between
do
these
stuff like that.
two groups of people, the
Yes.
Steelers and the Ravens folks. It was fun. I thought that was fun. And then after the fact, whenever all the Steelers were out on the Ray Lewis statue with their terrible towel and celebrating out in the middle, it looked like they were conquering, Mike. It looked
Yes.
like they were conquering
Yes.
Baltimore. I loved it.
It reminds me of like when the Penguins win in Washington and all the Penguins fans invade the steps at the I think it's like at a museum or something. We take
Yeah,
over. Pete see Pete knows what the DEA is up to. He knows.
I got my eye on you too.
Come on, man. He's detoxing. I'm intoxicating.
News.
The
Mike,
news.
man with machete murdered a Dollar Tree employee. A Dollar Tree employee, Mike. What could have possibly happened for a buck? Do you think it could be the raising of the prices? Because I
I
do
think
know
so, but that's not that
there
poor
are
employee's fault.
items in that store, Mike, that are not $1 anymore.
That's not that employee's fault. You take that shit out on the CEO. Fucking, little class solidarity next time.
Yeah, show some class.
That's why I'm glad I got out of retail. Fuck.
Man charged with attempted murder and a machete attack on New York police department officers, NYPD officers. The machete, Mike, has been the weapon of choice so far in 2023.
You know what? I like it. I like it because it takes skill to actually use it other than a gun. A gun, you no. Machete
Yeah,
takes skill. Takes skill.
and
Let's
you look
step
like a
up our. Let's
badass
take
too.
up our
When somebody
fucking
has a
game.
machete, they just look like a
Yeah,
badass.
let's
I
pump up
like
these
it.
machete. Let's get the
Yeah,
gunshots down. The
yeah.
machete
We can get
attacks
the
up.
gun. Yeah,
Yeah, come on
the
now.
shooting murders down.
Yeah.
Um, suspect arrested. Suspect arrested after man in Florida stabbed to death with a broken bottle at New Year's Eve party. New Year's Eve party. So again, another stabbing, Mike. So far,
So far,
it's it.
2023 is looking up, man. We're curbing the gun violence. We're using
Yes.
blades now, broken bottles. This is why you don't go out anymore. People stay at home.
One not so much violent, kind of a funny story that I seen that I had to pick up. Man forgets his wife at a rest stop, drives 100 miles before realizing it. Mike, 100 miles. He drove from here to Lake Erie, after leaving his wife at a stop, and he didn't even realize it, Mike. He didn't even realize it. Is that even possible, or do you think that that's just his excuse to keep him out of?
That's just his
out of?
excuse. My man would just enjoy the quiet, peaceful car ride,
You know what I
hoping
mean?
she would figure something out, hoping she'd call someone, get an Uber, something. And yes,
And
Pete,
here's the
no
thing.
one expects the Inquisition. No one expects the Inquisition.
And here's the thing: if you drive from here to Erie, it takes 2 hours. 2 hours. So he's driving without his wife, who was with him prior to,
Mhm.
for 2 hours before he realized that she
My man
wasn't
was
in the car.
he wanted to listen
Too
to a
funny.
podcast in peace and quiet.
That's what he was
That's
probably
probably
doing.
what
He was
he
probably
wanted to do.
listening to
He
his
just
favorite
wanted,
show.
yeah. Like,
I couldn't agree more.
At that point, man, I would just keep driving. At that point, you start a new life, you start a new family, you just go. You don't turn back
Yes.
because you're never going to live that shit down, deservedly so.
And also, Mike, more bad news to start the year out. The police department, let me think. Let me find out where it is. Brackenridge here in Pittsburgh. The police chief got shot and killed yesterday in a line of duty. Chief Justin McIntyre was shot, unfortunately, in a situation. He was a good police officer, great guy. I just, again, 2023 starting off kind of rough. I hope the people calm down a little bit. But you know what? There's nothing that really points to the people who are going to calm down. It just seems like people are just getting more frustrated with other people. People are less tolerant of other people, and anything that if there's a any kind of situation, it ends out in violence, man. What? Not a big fan. Not a big
I'm
fan.
not a big fan of humanity.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not even a fan of myself. Why would I be a fan of other people?
Well, to say you're humanity, that's a bit of a stretch, but
Fair enough.
hombre, well, you know,
Fair enough. You know, I know me. I know
you
myself.
do have a special relationship with that ape that was killed in Cincinnati.
How could you not? How could you not? I'm sorry. They should have shot that parents. They should have shot the parents, and then whatever happened to the kid happened to the kid. That's on them. That's natural selection.
And everybody, that is today's.
The news.
Mike, we got a couple minutes left. I think that it's a better time than any. Just real quick to mention, I didn't think that was necessary to mention, but our people are passing it over to me. What I see now, Mike, is of course we weren't able to finish out our picks from this week because of the unfortunate incident last night at the game. We will get back to that, Mike. I promise you. But of course, more important things happen, so we will get back to that. That will. We certainly still will cover. But Mike, you ready to do some trivia? You want to do some how well do you know your enemy trivia? This Cleveland Browns. We
I
got
am
more
ready.
Browns trivia.
I am ready.
Mike's cracking into his Cleveland Browns stats page and facts page.
I actually closed everything out. And the only thing up is stuff for the show.
Well, I don't expect you to do bad because I do know that you love your Browns, and I think that
you'll
do very well.
Yeah. This guy called me a Browns fan the other night after the Steelers.
We did. We got into a lovers quarrel.
Like I don't even know what the hell happened.
And it ended out by me yelling at him and calling him a Cleveland Browns fan.
And all I did was say, Kenny finally made a play.
We're lucky that didn't turn violent, Mike, with all the violence going on in 2023. Real quick, let me see what P has here. That not being my favorite person thing hits home. Had some rough Tuesdays.
P knows what's up.
All right, Mike. So we're gonna do some Cleveland Browns trivia. I think you're gonna do well. I think
apparently that's my secret favorite team.
I think you're gonna know this. I think that I knew it. I don't know. I might have. All right, are you ready?
Fuck yeah. I mean, yeah.
Here we go. Browns trivia. So this is who we play. What was the nickname for the 1980 Browns? What was the nickname for the 1980 Browns? Were they the Orange Wave? Were they the Orange Crush? Were they the Comeback Kids? Or were they the Cardiac Kids? Let me read it one more time.
I've heard like all these for like a bunch of teams.
Here we go. What was the nickname for the 1980 Browns? Were they the Orange Wave, the Orange Crush, the Comeback Kids, or the Cardiac Kids? And go. Anything sticking out to you?
Yeah, the Cardiac Kids is sticking out to me. I've heard that one a lot in my life. I've heard the Comeback Kids. I've heard the Orange Crush. Blah, blah, blah.
I think they call everybody the Cardiac Kids that have like one of them teams that are always. The Steelers could have been the Cardiac Kids here in the
past couple years. Jesus Christ! Like last year, Ben 7, game-winning drives.
Yeah. All right, put down your pencils, everyone. Let me read it one more time. Just so Mike doesn't try to accuse us of anything.
Oh, I'll accuse you of everything.
What was the nickname for the 1980s Browns teams? Was they the Orange Waves, the Orange Crush, the Comeback Kids, or the Cardiac Kids? Mike, you said you wanted to pick the Cardiac
Kid. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Cardiac Kids. Apparently, that's the theme of the day.
All
That is
right.
tasteless joke, but I'm going with
I'm
it.
gonna lock it in. I'm just gonna ignore Mike's bad humor, and we
It's
got him
how I
locked in.
cope. It's how I cope and deal with situations.
All right, so everybody, here we go. Um, what was the nickname of the 1980s Browns team? The Orange Wave, the Orange Crush, the Comeback Kids, the Cardiac Kids? Give it a second just for anybody home that's thinking about it. And of course, Mike, the answer is and P.
Orange Crush is too smart for Cleveland.
And that is
He
correct,
knows
P.
what's
You got
up.
it correct. Mike, you got it correct. Mike is a
Yes, I think Orange
an
Crush is
expert
Syracuse.
when it comes to Cleveland trivia. Nobody could explain it, but Mike, yes, that is correct. You
You
are 2 for 2 this week in Cleveland Brown trivia, which is who we play
Mhm.
this weekend, and we need to beat this weekend to even have a chance to
Yes.
make the playoffs. So, hey, Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
Mm. 2dumbyinjers.com. You head over there. There's links to everything. We have links to YouTube, Spotify, the two main platforms for us, Facebook, Twitter, Instas, emails, merch store, everything at 2dumbyinjers.com.
And we are live. We're live every day, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here. Also, this show that is live today will be uploaded this evening over on Spotify. If you want to listen to the show in podcast form tonight at 8 o'clock, just like every day, that particular show from that day will be uploaded to Spotify. Go over to Spotify and check it out in podcast form. Mike, good show today,
Yes.
brother, as always.
Yes. Great show.
Absolutely. You got anything before we take off, man?
Yeah, hopefully Damar pulls through, man. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. Let's go to
Yeah,
Mar. Let's go to Mar.
absolutely. Damar, you are
Oh,
in
you're
all of our
welcome, P.
thoughts.
You're welcome, P.
Um, everybody is just heartbroken. Everybody is hoping you pull through. There's not a person that has blood running through their veins that don't feel that way. Pull through, man. Pull through. You're here at home, especially. We need you, man. Let's get better. All right. Hey, everybody, you're welcome, P. Everybody, please keep continuing to check us out. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes,
Believe me,
yes.
each and every one of you greatly appreciated. For Ryan, Mike, the two dumb Yinzers,